Okay, so today we're going to talk about solving systems using substitution 6-2. Okay, so the solve systems using substitution method is our objective. Standard is A1.3.1. Okay, so what is the substitution method? It's the process of solving for one variable and then plugging that into a second equation in the system to solve for the remaining variable. Okay, so that's the actual process. Okay, so essential to understanding here is to know that when you have two equations with two variables, you can solve for one, if you know one, you can plug that into by substitution method and evaluate the other. Okay, so problem number one, using substitution method, what we're going to do is we know what y equals. So y is equivalent to 3x. We know that. It says it right here. Y is equal to 3x. It's equivalent to 3x's. So what we can do with this 3x, since we know that's what y equals, we can substitute it into the second equation. We make the second one x plus 3x, and then that's equal to a negative 32. Okay, now I'll put this in parentheses. So now that's what y is. So this is reading x plus still y equals negative 32. It's just that we said since they're equivalent, they're interchangeable. So now we take 4x, because x plus 3x is 4x's, is equal to a negative 32. Divide by 4 to solve for x, and you get x equals a negative 8. So now once we know that, we go back into the original y equals 3x and plug in what we know x is. That's a negative 8, and we get negative 24 is what y is. So simple. Now just to write, there's our answer. And do the check as well. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. We kind of did that check in the work. But if we go here, negative 8 plus a negative 24, that does make a negative 32, so it does check out. Okay, so you go ahead and do a substitution here. A little hint, y is solved for in both equations, so basically you're going to set the two equations equal to each other. Okay, so let's look at problem 2. What happens when we actually don't have anything solved for? Well, we might actually have to solve for the system ourselves. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the easiest. So that's kind of a key here, and I'll write this down. Find the easiest, read my handwriting there, easiest variable to solve for. Alright, so I see 3y, it's not going to be easy. 4x, not going to be easy. 2x, not going to be easy. Nothing's compared to y. Okay, y is 1y. So it's as simple as adding 2x to both sides. Now I'm going to reorder it a little bit here, but I'm going to put the x's up front, so I'm going to call it 2x minus 3. And now that we know what y equals, so we did that in the second equation, which means we got to take this 2x minus 3 and plug it in up here. Okay, which means that we get 3 times y, which we said now is equivalent to 2x minus 3. Okay, you can never put an equation within itself. It's always got to go into the other one. Alright, then plus 4x equals 14. Now we just have to simplify and solve, which means distribute the 3. We get 6x minus 9 plus 4x equals 14. Combine like terms, so I have 6x and 4x, which makes 10x, still a minus 9. And then now we just have to add 9 to both sides. Okay, so those back into pre-algebra stuff right here. And we get 23. Divide by 10. We get x is equivalent to 2.3. So now you know what x is, you have y solved for, so really I would just go right here and solve for by plugging in 2.3 minus 3, which is 4.6 minus 3, which is then going to give us 1.64y, which means 2.3, 1.6 would be our answer. Now the check is important here because we plugged in something that we changed. Plugging it up here, chances are you're going to be right. But plugging it down here, if I put -3 when it should have been +3 or something like that, that's where you might have some issues. So we always want to do the check, which means plug it in here and here, our x's and y's respectively, and then it better come out to be 14. Plug it in here, it better come out to be -3. I'll allow you to go ahead and do the check just to save time for this video. Okay, so you need to go ahead and do the check. Okay, oops, forgot to delete that. So that was an extra slide from previous lesson. Example 4 here is solving for a variable, so I want you to go ahead and do the same thing that we just did. Look at what's going to be the easiest one to solve for and go from there. Okay, problem 3, let's look at this one. A snack bar sells 2 sizes of snack packs, a large snack pack $5 and a small one for $3. And one day they sold 60 total at $2.20. How many, and I forgot to put this in here, this would be small snack packs did the snack bar sell? Okay, so we have to actually make a system now, which means we need 2 equations. So first off, we need to identify what our topics are and what our subjects are. They seem very similar to each other, but it's different. Okay, topics are what our variables are going to be. So we're going to go ahead and say like x and y. Alright, so our topics are the large and small snack packs. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, hey, the small is our x and the large is our y. That's our topics. Those are usually what becomes the variable. Now our subjects are the 2 main subjects of the story problem. Now we were talking about money and we were talking about items. Okay, so we had so many items sold, which is there's a number of x and y, small and large snack packs sold. There was a total of 60. Okay, they told us 60 total. But then the other topic was money. Now they said we sold $220. Well, that came from the snack packs. $3 for the small and then $5 for the large. So there's our system. Okay, it's made up by the 2 subjects. So now we just have to solve for one variable. So just like the last problem example, or problem number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for x. I'm going to make this 60 minus y. That way you get a look at what it's to solve for x. So we go always into the second one now, or the opposite one, because we used the first. So I'm going to put in 3 times, and now it's 60 minus y. So we substitute out the x this time, and 5y equals 220. Distribute the 3, and you're going to get 180 minus 3y plus 5y equals 220. We'll combine like terms. Negative 3y and 5y makes now 180 plus 2y equals 220. We're going to subtract 180 from both sides. Okay, because now we got to solve. That's going to give us 2y. That's going to give us a total now of 220. Got to borrow 12. It's going to give us 4, 0, and y now is going to equal divide by 2, 20. So that means we sold 20 large snack packs. And then now the question is how many small ones? Well, since we know the small ones are x and it's, well, we only sold 60 total, what's 60 minus the 20? That gives us 40. So that means x is 40. So again, we can always go from this kind of shortcut there, meaning that we've had 40 small and 20 large. In this case, we would actually write those out just because this is a story problem. In story problems, we typically write it out. 40 small, 20 large. Okay? And the answer was 40 small because that was the question. How many small? Okay? but if you want to write down 20 large, just so you know. Okay, so a video game's being rented out. Example 5. Go ahead and do that, and we'll talk about that in class. Okay, so problem 4, we get back to this many solutions and no solutions to see what the comparisons are. So what would we expect to see? In this case, we already have it solved for x, so we're going to go right to 3.5, negative 2y plus 4, and then plus 7y equals 14. So again, we knew what x was equal to, so we substitute that down into x. Okay, so we take 3.5 times 2, we get 7y, negative 7y because it was negative. We get 4 times 3.5, which gives us 15 plus 7y equals 14. Okay, or excuse me, I don't know why I said 15, 14. That's what that should be. Plus 7y. So we have 7y and negative 7y in these two, which are just going to cancel, giving us 0 y's, which we don't write. And we get 14 equals 14. Okay, and 14 equals 14 is true. I mean, that is a true statement. So this would be a many solution. So any time that you get in many solutions, that's what you would get. Okay, so that's what you have to think about. Anytime you get like 5 equals 5 or 0 equals 0, or maybe even x equals x, all solutions are going to work. So this one is a many solutions. You can put infinite many or just many. Okay, well, let's look at B. We have y solved for again, so we're going to write 3x minus 11. We're going to subtract 3x equals negative 13. So now we just simplify. 3x minus 3x, again that cancels. You're left with a negative 11 equals a negative 13. Now because negative 11 does not equal negative 13, this would be a no solution. So again, anytime you get something like 2 equals 7 or negative 5 equals 8, it doesn't work, so therefore it's a no solution. Okay, true statements are many solutions, false statements are no solution. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. Again, pre-quiz that you're going to do, and then we'll talk about this in class and take quizzes and see where we go from there.